Hello, people. We are back by public demand. This is the Black Raspberry Radio Show, and I am your host, Lorenzo Andrews, and I have my special guest, the lovely Michelle Bostic. Brownsville is definitely in the house from all corners of the universe, and I am so glad that my childhood friend, one who I've seen, what year we in? We in year 2023, and I met and came across Miss Bostic in 1980. And it's sad that a lot of people haven't even lived that long. In all hoods, from Brownsville to Compton.
But we're here.
But we're here, and Miss Bostic, let the people know who you are.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Bostic, and I am born and raised in Brownsville. Also did a stint in Iowa for about 4 or 5 years, but that's another story. But I am currently working at a nonprofit in Bedford-Stuyvesant, a community outreach manager. Do a lot of things. My main focus is human services. I'm currently taking classes at the CUNY School of Professional Studies to broaden my knowledge, gain degrees so that I can help my community to the best of my ability. I am here with my friend, I like to call him Mr. Drew.
Yes.
To spread some love in New York City.
Because she told me, she said, Negro, stop being down and be uplifting.
Yeah, come on now, let's get it together. We all have a time to, mourn and things like that.
Yes.
But you have to keep moving because we all have a purpose in life.
Yes, because the earth is going to keep going around that sun 360 degrees.
And let me tell you, when you get older, it moves faster.
Yes.
Okay, it moves faster.
And Ms. Bostic, I don't want to go off the subject, but they said that the what you call that clock? The clock. Not the doomsday clock.
What, the eternal clock?
One of those clocks, they said that the time done sped up about point such and such.
And this is why we think that things go by so fast.
Yes.
It has a meaning.
Yes.
And a lot of people really don't know about
Something like Marvel Comics, like the Time Stone. Something like that.
I don't know about that, but okay.
So what is it that you do with your CBO, your community-based
I do a
organization?
lot. Just to give you some background, I started there, will make 4 years. I started there as a temp with Summer Youth Employment. They got this big contract, one of the first nonprofit African-American-led organizations in Bedford-Stuyvesant that received the SYEP contract. So they needed someone to come and, do the processing and intake forms and things like that.
Right.
I happen to be working in Brownsville at 444, which is a historic building. They're actually tearing it down now to make something better.
Yeah.
But I work with Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. LaShawn Muhammad Allen is the executive director.
Yes.
And also Barry Cooper, who has a little bro experience. He was working with her. They do a lot of work together. So I was doing work there, and as I always do, when I do a job, I do it well.
Right.
So they were watching me. That's why I always tell people, you never know who's watching you, your skills and things like that. So when the opportunity came and there was a need for someone to fill this position, they recommended me.
Right.
I didn't even know, anything about it, or that I even had the wherewithal to, take on this challenge. Right. They pushed me. I went for the interview. I got called back for the second interview. Lo and behold, I'm like, why they didn't call me back? Because I know I am the forerunner. Right. Front runner for this position. Right. So lo and behold, they called me back.
Okay.
Hence, that was a success. I stayed on permanently. I got a promotion to program assistant. Did well with that. Then I moved up to community outreach coordinator. And I am now community outreach manager. Okay. So I do a lot of things: youth workforce, senior services, housing information, community outreach. I work with a lot of politicians within the neighborhood.
Do you just work with economics? What about like mental illness? Any mental illness?
Well, I am a staunch advocate for mental illness. Mayor Adams is talking a lot about bringing some programs, funding,
right,
and just bringing it to the forefront because it's much needed. So we are focusing on that now. I am trying to pilot a program for our organization with mental health because in our neighborhoods,
yes,
it's a necessity. I think, and I always say this, everyone has at least 2 people in their family or someone that they know that suffers from mental illness. Now, there's always been a misnomer about mental illness. They label it as you're crazy. Okay. I always say the brain is an organ just like any other organ.
Right.
Okay. And sometimes it doesn't work right.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And there's things that you can do to help it.
Right.
You know?
Do you think medication is always, because the doctors always like to prescribe medication when, let's just say that if someone goes into a mental illness hospital and the doctor prescribes the medication, do you think medication is always the means
Well,
to solving
I can't
to a
really,
chemical imbalance?
as I am not, versed in things like that, but I do know from being a human being,
Right.
and myself having mental health issues within my family.
Right.
Every person is different.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? There's different types of mental illness.
Right.
You got anything from depression, anxiety, manic depression, schizophrenia,
Right.
Personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. So you can't just use one.
And don't forget the Brownsville favorite, the post-traumatic stress.
Oh, that's not a Brownsville favorite. That is reality.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I have PTSD because I was in 9/11. My birthday is September 10th. I worked
God.
for the state for 18 years.
So you was in the buildings when the plane
I didn't
crashed.
come home until the next day.
Right.
Okay, so and I still have issues with that.
Right,
You understand what I'm
right.
saying? So post-traumatic stress disorder is not anything to be dangled around just to give you a label.
Right.
Okay, everyone has their own. You look at the veterans, the service people or members that go to war or anything like that. Everybody has their own type of PTSD.
Right.
What I do notice, though, that in urban environment, they like to use labels without really knowing
Right.
what they really mean. They just use it as a Band-Aid
Right.
to label any kind of, situation. Hence, that's why we have issues with the NYPD when they don't know how to deal with people who are
Mentally ill.
mentally ill.
Right.
Everybody wants to put a label on it and make it a one-stop shop.
Can I just, just insinuate, not to cut you off. I'm sorry, ma'am. You said that you was inside the World Trade when the planes hit? Or
No,
you
I was
in the-
not. No,
you was
I
in the
was
area?
not. I worked at 25 Beaver Street, Bowling Green.
Okay.
Okay. Like I said, my
was-
birthday was September 10th. I was running to get to work because I was, I'm kind of late all the time or whatever. But thank God that my weakness saved my life.
Right.
Being late because I was running to get to work. Had just got paid that day.
Right.
That was payday. And also I was just 3 days away from my 2-week vacation and also 3 days away from ending my first promotion.
Right.
Okay, so I'm thinking everything is good. And lo and behold, to me, I saw some woman. I got off the train from Brownsville, and she saw me running. She said, "I don't know what you running for." The plane, I said, "Girl, get out of here, bye." I'm going to my job,
And it was havoc down there.
And it was happening. It was havoc. You understand what I'm saying? So, post-traumatic stress disorder is real.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? I didn't know if I was going to survive.
Right.
I am not Catholic nor Christian. I'm Baptist, but I sure did stood up against that wall in that cellar in that building and did this.
Right.
And Hail Mary and
The
I
cross.
asked him to save my children.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because it sounds like you all remember Godzilla, right? Remember Godzilla? The Blob. Remember the
Right.
Blob?
Ooh.
When I saw that plume of gray smoke
That's
coming
right.
down
That's
that
right.
narrow William Street.
That's right.
Okay, and I saw this lady running, and he was just going from side to side, and that smoke was behind her. All I could think of was the Blob taking over the buildings.
I can dig it. I'm visioning that.
So I told my coworkers, "Let's run! We have to get out of here."
This is 9/11 people when this happened. Go ahead.
So fast forward,
Okay.
I got off that bridge because it was swaying and
Right.
all the smoke was
'Cause
coming.
all the people was
all the
on
people
there.
on the bridge, and then you had the helicopters. So I'm thinking kamikaze. They coming
right.
back. They
That's
gonna shoot
right.
the whole bridge down. I can swim, but all these motherfuckers on me and shit, they gonna bring me down. In the water. So I said, well, I'm getting off. My coworkers followed us, and we got the next thing going out of there, which was the boats that go to Jersey.
Right.
Where the heliport
And the
is.
Staten Island ferry too.
Yeah, I'm right there. I was right there. So we got out of there and didn't come home until the next day. Now, all the money in the world I had, I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. When we get to Jersey, I'll pay a cab to come on home. We take the whole cab."
A lot of money, I bet it
That
was.
man, that National Guard, I'm standing there with that little,
That's
not
right.
little, that big gun.
the
And he said,
M16.
"Ma'am, you need to think about where you're going to sleep tonight. instead of trying to get home because there is no way out of here.
Right.
That's when
it hit. The reality set in.
I said, what?
Wow.
I got paid today, y'all. My
Right.
kids is waiting for me. You know what I mean? We can do stuff for a payday. You know, whatever. So, and I say all of that to say people need to really focus on their own mental and emotional health and stop trying to label.
Right. It's crazy that you said that. It was this episode of Oz that I seen some years ago. And it was an old Caucasian man that's sat up in there for almost all his life. And he said that I thought I was speaking to God, but I was speaking to the power of my own reasoning. And I'm like, wow, you know, I'm in my 5% mode. I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, I'm listening to the power.
Profound.
It was so profound, like you said, but it's like, wow, am I speaking to God? Am I speaking to the power of my own reasoning? And I concluded, you know what? I'm speaking to both. I am definitely speaking to both. Brownsville. What are your thoughts of Brownsville? I know that you told me, like, Lorenzo, let's go a little further into this interview before we touch it. Let's jump into it.
I knew you was going to just throw me in there. But I have a lot of feelings about Brownsville.
Right.
From my youth up until this day.
Right.
You know, that's why I want this to be 2, 3, 4-part series because it's
4,
not
5,
just
6, 7
minutes.
parts.
I have
It's a lot of
tell.
goddamn stories to talk about.
Yeah, and my truths. You know,
And your
not
truths.
just stories, my truth. You understand what I'm saying? So Brownsville, to me, you know, I'm loyal to a fault, you know. And that's where I was born and raised. That's where I've learned a lot, you know, about life.
Right.
You know, social economics, you know, social disadvantages.
Right.
And just social communication.
Right.
Brownsville in itself is a place.
Right. A place of.
And you fill in the blanks, whatever you want to, but make sure it's just positive, you know, because I don't look at Brownsville as a negative place because that's where I'm from.
Right.
If anyone to this day says something negative about Brownsville, I stand up for my neighborhood and I will debate and give you some facts about the good about Brownsville.
Right.
You know,
will Brownsville become better if it become quote unquote East Williamsburg, as they say now, with the gentrification? Because we're seeing that buildings are being erected.
No.
Will it change?
No. That's Brownsville should be a landmark as far as I'm concerned.
It should a landmark
be
of
historical landmarks. Since they want to always put us as the red dot on the map. Okay,
yes.
Can we get our just due? Since you want to keep doing that to us, I mean that's okay.
Let me throw this at you. What is the just due that you could give the Brownsville? I'm just want to play the devil's advocate with you, man.
You know, the just due is just our longevity.
Right.
You know,
for those that are still alive.
Still alive, still there.
Right.
You know, even if they're even not in Brownsville, you know,
right.
Brownsville has brought about good people, you know.
Right.
I noticed that they tend to focus on Brownsville in a negative light all the time.
Right.
If you look at the history of Brownsville, if you take the time to really read about the history of Brownsville, like institutions like the BRC,
right.
The Brownsville Heritage House, that library is right there. So much heritage, you know.
Right.
The PAL, we were just talking about that, the PAL in Howard, you know.
Right.
There's a lot of rich resources that come in the Brownsville. Even like I said, 444 Hopkinson, they are finally tearing that building down. But I remember going there in summer camp. Right. You understand what I'm saying? My daughters had classes and courses there. You understand what I'm saying? My 360 is that's why I'm where I am now at my job. You know, because of 444. People focus too much on the negative.
Right. You know what? You just gave me the good, but give me I always say Brownsville is the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm playing devil's advocate, ma'am.
Okay, so you're asking me something. Okay, the unity.
Give me some ugly.
There's no unity. There's
no unity.
There's no unity. You know.
We just covered this subject. Do you think social media has brought upon no unity, because my fat self used to, when my mother was hustling numbers, this is before the New York State Lottery came, and my mother was a number runner, and she said, Negro, you better go get you some lunch. I'm like, Mommy, I'm hungry. She said, nigga, not Negro, nigga, you better go get you some lunch. So I'm like, you know what? 263 opens up at 11:30. If I could get there at 11:30, squab it up, run to 150, cut through Brownsville, no, to 284, squab it up, and then run over there near Cephalo to 150 and get me some more lunch. So I was filled up until Mama come back from hustling.
Right. So
Do
that
you
was
think,
okay.
Do you think like the social media has divided and conquered?
In that
I'm from this side, you from that side, I'm from that side, I'm from up the hill, I'm from the plaza, I'm from here, I'm from here, I'm from there.
Well, let me just tell you about me with social media.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not really into it.
Okay.
My friends have told me I had the most boring social media page ever.
Right.
Because I don't focus on Brownsville or any particular area. What I post is for everybody.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't put myself in a box. I don't you'll never see me, I can't twerk anyway, but you never see me, doing things like that or showing my food or posting my food, because I feel like my content, I have a purpose to give more. Right. I'm posting jobs. Okay, I'm posting OSHA courses that you get paid $800 for. Right. Okay, I'm posting security, scholarships and things like that. Right. That's what I do.
Right. To each his own, because everybody wants to be entertained in his own way, because it's like I post a lot, and maybe because I'm a communications major by trade, that's why I post
content
a lot.
Creator, right. And I'm not. I just want to give information. I like resources. I'm resourceful. I like to refer you to things. I work with the state. Like I work for all municipalities. I actually work for Federal Small Business Administration. Right. I work for the city, 2 organizations, the Board of Health, One Thing Livingston. I also work for the Office of Health and Mental Health and Hygiene. Right. And I also work for the Department of Insurance, and now known as the Department of Financial Services. So we regulate banks, ATMs, and things like that.
Because you know how y'all banks are. Y'all have low income housing, and then all of a sudden y'all go bankrupt and y'all want to sell the mortgages at a high price. I seen that on Good Day New York this morning.
But that's a fact. That's a fact. But that's what we do. This has to be regulation. And just like with culture and environments, we were just talking about this, where there's chaos, where there's no routine, there's chaos, so you have to have structure.
Gotta have order, as they say.
Order, without order, there's chaos, exactly. There has to be rules to follow.
Don't be so
and
strict.
This is what is
strict.
going on now, to answer your question and what he said. There is no accountability.
Right.
There is no structure.
Right.
In routine, like you said, we went to church every Sunday.
Right. You know what?
We had to go on the church bus.
I mean, even if you didn't go to what was that? Yogi Bear. I didn't get a chance to go to Yogi Bear, but my mother used to beat me.
You got a lot of beatings. Huh?
I got a lot of beatings. You got to go to church on Sunday, and it was that structure that was given. I had to go to church on Fridays. And I had to go to church on Sundays. Fridays was choir rehearsal, and Sundays was church. You got to go to church up until I got to the age of 14, and then, it stopped, and I kind of swayed my own way with my own beliefs, and mother you don't want to go to church, but I kept that structure, that order. In the fair, my mother whooping my ass till this day, and I'm 50 years old.
And this is what is missing now.
Yeah.
That's when they brought in, can't whip your children. Remember, we were talking about ACS, BCW at the time, can't whip your child, You know what I mean? So they unruly, uncontrollable, can't whip them or whatever. So now you got the child running around not listening to you. Also, going back, he was saying, the fact that you and I went to church and things like that, that was teaching us structure. Right. Routine, standards, morals, values, principles. Right.
You just can't go up and just do anything but wild to anybody.
And like teaching you to respect your elders, Right. You hear now these kids is cursing and everything in front of anybody. Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, Michelle, Miss Bostic, and I'm gonna go back to a time in the 80s, the sheepskins. And I'm 50. My sisters,
I'm 50 as well.
My sisters got me by, one got me by 6 years, one got me by 7 years. And when they were 15, they were grown. It's like as if a 15-year-old in our times was already in their 20s.
An adult. Because we know how to cook.
Right.
We know how to do the laundry.
Right.
We were taught that stuff. And the formative years is what's important. And we should be grateful that we were allowed that.
Right.
You know, that's what's missing. The formative year is 0. It's usually 0 to 7.
Right.
In human services sociology. But if you don't have that, that's the foundation.
Right. I just think that ACS, I think that with a couple of kids getting killed, because my mother almost killed me a couple of times from like playing with matches in the house.
Oh, really?
And got beat.
Arson?
And like I just said, that when I was going to 327 at the time, 1980, 1981, I was playing with matches at the time, and I blamed it on my sister. And my sister beat me up after we got out of school, but like it was said, she saved mom. But I just think that now the kids are too much kids now. They're not so much adult.
Because they don't listen.
Now.
They don't listen. They do not listen.
Right.
I have a 19-year-old.
Right.
My 34-year-old and my 26-year-old, they don't play with me.
Right.
Because they know.
Right.
They listen. But that 19-year-old
Right. It's going to challenge you.
is.
Right. Does, yeah.
I'm like, what happened? I'm looking at myself like, where did I go wrong? You know, what is this? You know? Don't she know who I am?
Right.
You know, and her sisters, you know, they get mad at me because one of
You
them
ain't
said,
whooping that ass.
if that was me,
You would've
I
did
would have
this.
had slapped, and you know, and I think it's kind of like a little resentment between them two and her.
Yeah.
You know,
And
but she don't care.
But you know what? That's how it was also with my sisters. Like, this nigga don't even take out the garbage, ma. He don't know how to put up the blinds, ma. Why you let him get at that time? I know how to put up blinds now, but at that
That's
time,
why his sister used to always beat him up.
and I mean, you know what? I just took a trip down south, to check on my mom's, her well being, because she got tired of Brownsville. It's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I done seen enough people die, and if I do die, you bring my body back to Brownsville over there on Cooper Street and bury next to Grandma.
I think,
but my sister bullied me. And I'm 50 and she's 56. And it's like, you know what? I just fall back. It's like, you know what?
And that's a good thing that you said, because even back then, we were taught to respect our elders, even that was our siblings.
Right.
You know, because your sister probably took care of you when your mother was at work.
Yes, she did when she
You
was
understand what I'm
hustling.
saying? Well, whatever she was doing.
Right.
Okay, you're going to stop talking about mama. Cause, okay?
Dear
And
mama,
she's
I love you,
70
mama, I
and
love you.
still,
Right.
okay, so we ain't going to do that.
Right,
But
right,
she
right.
made a way. She paved the way for you guys. You know,
Right.
you're still benefiting from that to this day. So let's not,
True indeed, sister,
take
true indeed.
that, let's not negate that fact. But, and that's what's important. And I respect the fact that you still have that respect for your older sister, because
Yeah.
that's how we were raised and how it was before. You know, it's lineage.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Hold on. Let me fill this one in with my sister. This is a quick story. And this is a 327 story, because this person truthfully is from 10 Amboy. And I was doing the wrong thing. I don't know how I got enticed, being with the wrong crowd and selling crack cocaine on the street. So the word got around that I was selling crack cocaine, and not too far from the steps of my mother's porch. And this stick-up kid came there with a Mac 11 and was going to stick me up. And my sister walks outside. And I'm just y'all know my sister Jennifer. She's the chick that still got the 5 gold fronts in her mouth from all the way back from 1981, 82. You'll meet her one day. And she said, what's wrong? I said, Jennifer, I think that guy across the street is going to rob me. She was like, yo, I used to beat him up in 327.
In your nerd boy voice.
And in my nerd boy voice. I said, Jennifer, I think that he's going to rob me.
Yeah.
He's going to rob me. She was like, I used to beat him up. I was in the fourth. I used to beat him up in the 4th, 5th, and the 6th grade at 327. Because after my sister left 327, she went to IS 55 with the rest of the bad fucking kids. So it kind of blended on in, and she fitted the mold, and she went over there and let him know, yo, that's my little brother over there. He hugged and kissed my sister. He was like, all right, Jennifer.
And that's a good segue into what I'm about to say. Brownsville, a lot of people. You never know who knows.
You never know who knows.
You never know who you're messing with.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. If only that opportunity was allowed to so many other people that your sister was able to do for you at that time with that guy with that Mac 11. You know that stuff, that sprays, right? You don't need no Mac 11 for you. Depends on how many lunches you ate. But, you know, come on. Yeah. You see how they quelled it?
Yes.
And this is where the social communication
That's
comes
right.
in.
And we touched that. That's right.
Okay.
Because if it was social media, I don't think that she could have went on Facebook and said, that's my little brother. It wouldn't have happened in time. He would have tore my ass up.
So you thank your sister, and that's why she's still on your ass
yes, she
today
do.
Because she saved you.
Yes.
And then she said, you got the nerve to be scared of this little punk ass motherfucker that I've been whipping his ass the whole time, and he gonna do this to my
little brother.
Yeah. But karma.
Yeah.
Karma. You
right.
hear what I'm saying?
Miss Bostic, I gotta jump into this right quick. So when we went down south, I want to share this to y'all, to you people that follow S.STREET Media. When we was down south in South Carolina, you know that you can't smoke marijuana down south. And we in a hotel. And we're blazing, fucking with my man. He comes and visit me. Excuse my French. Comes and visit me. Yo, I got this L, but I think we should smoke in the car.
But he knew that.
He knew that.
He from there.
We went inside the hotel and he had that loud. I mean, it was loud. And it was a clip. And it was all out in the hallway. And housekeeping knocked on the door, said, housekeeping. I'm
and
like,
it
yes.
was a clip.
I just opened the door. I don't know no better. Opened the door. They're like, you have to get out. You have to get out. You have to get out. I think the guy downstairs was going to call the cops. But the one thing I made sure, while my sister was at the hospital seeing my mother, I made sure I grabbed up all her clothes. And
you forgot about yours?
No, I grabbed mine too, but I made sure I grabbed my sister's, and I went and got a better hotel with better food that was in the morning, and she was still pissed. I'm like, Jennifer, please don't be mad.
You still doing the same.
You still doing the same thing, and you're not a little kid, huh?
And they get tired of telling you over and over, like, when you gonna learn? You know, when am I gonna have to stop saving you?
Yeah.
Okay, you portray this, you do that, you do so many things. You're very intelligent. You have a lot of things going for you. You have goals and dreams for yourself. You're stuck, let it go.
Yeah.
You know, you have to.
Miss Bostic, it's funny that you said that. You know, my friend came over and said, Lorenzo, let go what's not here. And
what's
love
not
what's
for
in.
you.
Yeah.
Stop trying to hold on and make everything right for everybody else. Focus on yourself.
Right.
That's why you and I bonded, unfortunately, after we lost someone.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You've been trying to get me here for well over how many years?
I think since 2018 when we first got here.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yes.
And I got the pictures and the emails and the texts. Him and rest in peace, Seiko. And trying to get me. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. Y'all talking about all this stuff. My job, you know, I can't be doing that, you know. Hiding behind, you know, my job. But I am a part of Brownsville, and I do have a lot to say.
Right.
You understand? Because a lot of people got something to say about me.
Right.
So I'm going to make this cleared up.
Let me say, did you go to free lunch as a child?
I sure did.
Well, who had the best free lunch then?
327.
327, okay.
Yep. 327 and 284 is
right.
Easy
Where the swimming
second.
pool was at. We all had to go to that swimming pool.
Let me tell you, I was
swim.
in 320. I was in 284. My brother, that you said you went to school with, and my sister,
first grade,
and my god brother, they got me kicked out of 284.
Wow, what happened?
They was just acting up, doing Brownsville shit. You know, doing Brownsville shit in first, second fucking grade.
Right.
Okay. I'm like, what the hell happened? This school got a pool.
That would have been like 1981, 1982.
Yeah, I was born in 72. Right. You know, do the math. Okay, whatever. So, my grandma said, okay, we got to go over here.
Right.
I said, okay, let's go to this school. Best thing ever.
Right.
For me. You know, everything in my life that I've always said, no, I don't want to do it. And then when I had to say, okay, like that inner self, you said, speak to yourself.
Right.
Do
the
it,
power
do it,
of
do
your
it.
own
The
reasoning.
power of my own reasoning. It wound up to be the best thing for me. I went to 327. was accelerated, was put in gifted and talented
Class.
classes.
I never made it to that class.
I was in 3
Damn.
GT,
Right.
4 GT, and then what was the other one, the higher one?
Right.
I was in that one time, but I wasn't good enough, so they put me back down to that. But it was okay because I tried it. I had to, I wasn't ready, and this is why a lot of my positions at my job right now that I've had. They've been thrown at me.
Right.
I was offered the deputy director position. I wasn't ready.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Are you ready now?
No, because I didn't get the title, but I did get the money.
Okay.
And I purposely failed, which I did before. I told you about the story of me going to the gifted and talented test, all these Asians and Caucasians in this school. I'm like, if I pass this test,
right,
I have to go to school with these kids, people, and I don't know them, and they're gonna put me on a bus, in Brownsville, getting on the yellow bus, the special bus. But this was a gifted and talented bus, but because of what was going around, and I purposely failed. My teacher was upset with me. My godmother was upset with me. I was upset with me, but I was happy because I wasn't ready.
Right.
I say for me, everything in due time.
Right.
And I step on each rung of the ladder.
Right.
Like Nipsey Hussle said, everyone wants to get to the top, but no one wants to take the steps to get there.
Right.
I got my ladder is sturdy and long. I got the one that, how you could, how you do the ladder where it could go up. Extended ladder, I done passed it. I'm on the fire truck ladder where you got the thing and the shit move around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. With the automatic stuff, it's nothing manual for me because I've built that foundation for myself. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And I haven't taken any shortcuts.
Right. A lot of people love taking shortcuts to life.
No.
The shortcut is usually a long way.
The shortcut.
Sometimes,
it's not a long way. It's a waste of time.
Right.
It's a waste of time because it's like building a house. You're going to put how they do the foundation and stuff. You want that nice deep basement down there, right? You want to have your little man cave or whatever, So you got to have that. Because I lived in Iowa also. Right. That's another story. But you want to build deep.
Right.
Because you want it to last
like
long.
A bunker.
You want it to be a bunker. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you got to fill that space in.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And you got to fill it in with the same material that you're using. You know how people do shortcuts on building houses and stuff and things like that?
Right.
Does it last long?
No.
Okay, you got these collapses and things like that. But then when you do that, you got to spend money on insurance.
Right.
Okay, hence my insurance service. You have to spend money on insurance, so it's a liability. It's not an asset. Mm-hmm. You're building upon unsturdy ground.
Like are you building a tall building
rickety
on a swamp?
ass shack.
Right.
Okay, you just wanted something to live in just to look like you got something.
Right. Right.
Like Joni Mitchell said, they give you, what is it? Paint you paradise, give you paradise, tell you about paradise and paint up a parking lot.
Right.
They give you all these thoughts of grandeur and these great things and sell you something, but then all they paint you when you get there like an Airbnb. Right. It ain't what you saw.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that there's a lot of Airbnbs now in Brownsville. I'm noticing that I'm seeing a lot of Midwesterners. I see a lot of Jews now on my block smoking cigarettes because they live in.
What you think? Because they Jews, they don't smoke cigarettes?
No, not that. They're coming on my block to smoke the cigarettes. That's what I'm noticing.
Well, I would look at that as a good thing because your property value would go up.
Right, that too.
You got to think about it like that. Stop thinking about people coming in and gentrifying. When they come in, the value of your house go up.
Right, and the taxes though too.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, I know. Just pay them.
You got equity and all that stuff, escrow and all that stuff.
Right.
Okay.
She's speaking in her insurance tongue.
Think about that. Yes, I am. And real estate as well. But you got to think about that. We are so quick to think about the negative things that can happen from an outcome. We got solutions. We have outcomes.
Right.
It's always gonna be problems. It's always gonna be adversity.
Right.
In life, that's what life is about. Come on, get with it. Stop thinking everything is gonna be easy. That's what everybody wants, easy stuff.
Right.
Then they want to talk about, and I'm gonna change the subject. When a chick is easy.
Right.
Okay, you want that snatch easy, right?
Right.
But now you done got it. It's easy. Now you don't want to devalue it. Okay? Now you want to devalue it, right?
Can we get a hand clap for that one there?
Now you want to devalue it. Why would, if you think you so worthy or you got so much bank, why
Right.
you going after something so easy if it wasn't worth nothing?
Ooh.
Huh? That's an easy sell.
She's,
Right?
she sounded like a grandmother from '84.
So why you going after it then? You just want, so what does that say about you?
Right. Sometimes man's emotions.
Fuck emotions.
Okay.
Okay? Don't even give that excuse. Don't try to dumb down now.
Right.
Okay? Don't.
No, I'm just saying, ma'am. Like sometimes a man emotions,
So why you gonna blame it on the woman? Because your emotions is all running afoul.
Right.
And then who you go look for
Right.
to fix it or to quell it?
Right.
Okay, like I said, you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It takes two to tango. I mean, you can do it by yourself.
Right.
You
So what does it take to be a strong woman then? Let me
I
just throw that
can't
there.
be yourself. Know yourself. Take time with yourself. Know you.
Okay.
You ain't. I'm not a twin. I was
Right.
born by myself.
Right.
I don't owe anybody anything but my mother and my father because they're the ones who bore me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And I owe myself. You understand what I'm saying? The decisions I make it. I've never been forced to do anything that I didn't want to do. I don't do anything that I don't want to do, especially at this age.
Right.
I worked for the state for 18 years, and I did that because my daughter's father and his best friend made me take the civil service
test.
beginning entry test. I scored 100 on all the tests. I was number 6 on the waiting list.
Right.
Okay.
Easy hire.
Easy.
Right.
And I blew that interview out, and sky was the limit. Because I know what I want. I always knew what I wanted to do since I was little.
Right.
I have goals, still have goals, and I'm reaching them. There's been setbacks, but I don't let
That's
that hold me
humanly-
back.
humanly
right.
things,
Because with
human
adversity, it makes you stronger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, just love you.
Right.
Love you, and no one owes anyone anything.
Sometimes, is it hard to love you?
That's a good question. No. That is a very good question.
You?
Sometimes I'm really difficult, and I like to be difficult because, unbeknownst to the world, I am not easy. I'm really difficult. And I like it because it gets it stops like the riffraff and all the naysayers are the ones that don't mean me no good.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So if you think
Those opinions that don't really
if
count.
you think I'm difficult or I don't get it,
I'm
or
not down.
I'm not doing it. I don't know what fucking way you're doing it or how it's supposed to be done because I don't follow the crowd. I do it based on my morals, my standards, my values, my respect, and what I've been raised on. I was raised in a very good household, unbeknownst to my mom and my dad are still married, although they're not together, but they're both alive.
Do you think that's old school? And that's my mother calling, like, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hold on.
Do I think?
Hold on. Mom, I'm doing a show right now. I can't talk.
Okay.
All right, so I'll call you back.
Do I think that?
No, your mom and dad. You was talking about mom and dad. Do you think mom and dad? It's that old school that they still stay married.
They ain't stayed married because they in love.
Right.
They stayed married because that was
Old school.
No.
Okay.
That was what they did. They had a bond.
Okay.
They married based on marriage. Oh, how could I say it? The constraints of marriage. I don't want to say constraints because that's a bind. But based on the values of marriage. You understand what I'm saying? I still have their pictures when they were married, Well, their wedding. My mother was pregnant with my brother.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They tried to get it together again, but didn't work. But they still have a respect for one another,
Right.
They still love one another, But they have a bond. Right now, in this day and age, when people get married, it's based off of convenience.
Right.
Financial
convenience.
Financial, and just things like that. It's not really love.
Right.
You know?
Do you think maybe the music held them together? As crazy as I'm sounding,
Definitely.
because I don't want to talk
Look,
about hip hop because in her Barry White voice.
In my Barry White voice. Let's not even talk. You trying to get me. I know where you going.
And it's crazy. You know what? Because I had told Miss Bostic. I said, "Ma'am, she did a rendition of Anita Baker's "Been So Long," and I'm not gonna put her on the spot right now. And I mean, she sung the hell out of the song, and it was like, truthfully, Miss Bostic, it was like one of the greatest musical things that I have ever seen in my life. You know, me coming from the Russell Simmons and the Suge Knight and the Andre Harrell, and me wanting to be this big manager. And I was like, yo, if I was in an alternate universe, I would have signed you to a record contract right then and there, because you sang the hell out of Anita Baker's "Been So Long." And I want to, like we was talking about mom and dad, and they're still bonded, and the music. That music out of the 70s, the music that we were in our mama's womb, to Marvin Gaye and to Al Green and to Barry White and Teddy Pendergrass
and so many others.
There's so many others. It sounds so good even till this day.
But this is why, you know, when we're at our age now, when we sit back and, you know, we listen to those songs.
Yes.
And this is what life is about, because even when our kids now listen to what they listen to, these are going to be their songs that they listen to when they get older.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? This didn't start with us, and it was going to happen after us. You know, we didn't just make this stuff up. You know, this thing has been going on since the test of time, the beginning of the time, you know. A lot of people don't know I can sing.
Right.
And I don't like to share that.
Okay.
You know, because when I do sing, it's deep.
Right.
You know, and I ain't just start singing. You know, I've been doing this for a really long time.
Right.
And I don't share with a lot of people, because that's when I really get, you know, I let my inhibitions, you know.
Your inner self.
Yeah, and I just get into myself, you know. But yeah, I can sing, you know.
Right.
And maybe
We're not
I'll
going to
do
put
it
her on
one
the
day.
spot right now. Not
No,
tonight, you know, but she's going to
yeah.
come back, and she's going to sing "Been So Long" by Anita Baker, because that was... The Rapture album was one of my favorite albums. And I said this to you. My fat self was on Pickett Avenue at Soul Shack, and I was eating pizza, and the Soul Shack used to have the speaker outside, and they used to play the song. And when I heard "Caught in a Rapture," and I seen a girl that I had a crush on going to Marcus, because this is 1986. It was like, oh my God, the melody to the song.
You said forget about the pizza and everything.
It was fuck the pizza. I was still continuous eating the pizza, y'all. But
you was getting the feeling from
I was getting the feeling from Anita Baker. The
yes.
melody of the song and the words to the song just got me. And I went home, and my mother was cooking. She was like, I got some food upstairs. She was cooking rice and beans, chicken. And my mother used to know how to make lemonade so good, playing "Caught in the Rapture." Did you hear it? See? Yeah, I love that song so much that I actually wrote that song at the end of my script.
Really?
My screenplay, which I told you to read, Miss Bostic.
Hey, you know I read a little bit of it. But, you know, I have so many things to do.
Yes,
I will do that. But I'm here. I'm glad that I finally came here, really.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming.
Right.
I'm looking forward to many more sessions like this.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I have a lot to say.
Right, and I think that it's also kind of, sort of, it's therapeutic a bit.
Oh, definitely.
You know,
definitely.
and I have someone in my family that says, and I think the black community, and I'm gonna shoot it at the black community. The black community really don't like, I guess, going to see a therapist or talking about their problems, that you hinder it so much that you're gonna snap. Boom.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because I myself, I have been to therapy for well over like 3-4 years, and it was like a breath of fresh air.
Right.
We have this notion of thinking that going to a therapist means you know, going to a quack, or you know, you're crazy, like I said again. But therapy is very expensive.
Right.
Very expensive.
You mean okay, as far as the health coverage of it.
Financially, the health coverage, and it's expensive because of you got to place value on your mental health.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's an investment.
Right.
Okay, if you shortchange it or don't put investment in it, then you're lacking, you're stagnant. You know what I mean? I don't like to say this, but Caucasians, they start out with that. That's like a routine.
Right.
Like going to the doctor.
Right.
You go to a therapist, because I can't talk to my mother, my sister, my brother, my other half or whatever about some things personal about me for fear of it getting out. You know how people talk about your shit.
Right.
You invest in, you confide in people, and as soon as they get mad at you,
they want to throw shit up in your face.
Even if you just
That's
tell them something.
That's why you watch.
It could be a lot of things, but just when you invest and you confide your innermost feelings with someone, they should be honored that you even considered them to have all ears.
Sharing your inner soul.
And another thing that is a misnomer about therapy, they don't sit there and tell you what to do. You be talking most of the time yourself. You understand what I'm saying? They get things out of you that you have repressed. You understand what I'm saying? They put pieces to the puzzle, help you put pieces to your puzzle, because they don't know you. You have to tell them about you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They don't come in knowing who you are. You have to talk about you. Right. Going back to getting to know yourself.
Right.
Like the question, who are you?
Right.
Who are you? And the questions that we've asked before. Has anyone ever asked you a profound question about yourself?
Right.
Things like that. What do you want to do? What is your purpose?
Right. Sometimes everybody don't know their purpose, or I guess don't have a purpose, or you know what I think what defeats purpose? Wasted time. It's like, damn, now I can't find my purpose because time done went past, so now the efforts come, the fuck it's come. Fuck it, I don't care.
That's like going to class when the teacher say, come on, let's start this. We starting the class, right, in the beginning of September.
Right.
Stay on point. Stay on top. Don't wait until April.
Right.
Okay, to catch up on all the damn subjects
and
stuff. Because now you so far behind, you can't catch up, so you're lost.
And I tell my kids that.
You're lost. Now you want to go to the next grade. Mm-hmm. Like I said before, the steps. Mm-hmm. How you going to go to the second grade if you ain't completed the first grade?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So there's
everything
missing.
can't be hand given to you all the time.
Take the time.
Not all the time.
The things that we fought, Brown versus Board of Education.
Right.
Roe versus Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Bridges, Martin Luther King. All of these people fought for the right for us to be able to do the things that we do. Voting, that's a big thing with me. Right. Oh, I won't vote because my vote don't matter. You not voting is even more.
Wait a minute, ma'am. I know that you told me many times leading up to this thing, I do not want to talk about Donald Trump. We're not. But we're talking about voting. And I didn't like Trump this time, regardless of what I felt about him with the Mike Tyson thing, helping him. But I just didn't like Joe Biden. So
you have a right.
I kind of stayed out of voting.
Hold that. You say you don't like Joe Biden personally, or his
I didn't like his
platform.
I didn't like his platform and his crime bills that put my brothers and sisters under the jail cell during the crack cocaine era.
Okay, so do you think that that's the only issue he's dealing with as the president? That
I do know that when Joe Biden came into office,
have you ever thought about all the other things he has to deal with?
An awful lot, man. But I do know that the price of eggs went up during his tenure.
That's economy. You got to think about it. Something happened with the damn birds, okay?
Right.
So with the chickens.
Right.
So the eggs was good, but the chicken,
caught the flu.
That's why the chicken is so cheap.
That's
I bought some chicken wings. Was so pretty. They was $3 some damn change.
A pound.
Honey,
and
I bought like 5
when it was 25
packs, and they was good. But you know that's called demand and supply. You got to learn about agriculture and things like that, and marketing and business. That's when all this stuff comes in.
Right.
You just look at what's presented to them. Do you really know from Alpha and the Omega? Right. Especially if you want to. This goes into like being a business. Being in business, you got to know all aspects of all of that. You know, you can't just pick and pinpoint what. argument you want to debate or which issue you want to talk about when you don't have all the facts.
I mean, that's a good 3 minutes. What's that? And that's a good thing that you.
Yeah,
you put on. It was the flu that made those chickens.
Yeah, do you know why this is like that? Because we know damn well chicken wings. I ain't had chicken wings in years because they were so expensive.
Right.
Now they cheap and they little and pretty.
Right.
Because they killing these young ones before those are the ones that didn't catch it.
Right.
But the eggs, you know what I'm saying?
True
Either the
indeed.
little chicken or the egg. Which one? That's why the damn eggs are so expensive.
True indeed. Well, you know what? We're gonna wrap this show up, and I am so happy, Miss Bostic, that you came here today.
I was a little apprehensive, but I'm comfortable now.
And you know what? What the one thing that gets me with Miss Bostic, she used all those big words. You know that part.
Apprehensive is
wait.
apprehensive is big because there's a lot of letters. When you say big words to me, apprehensive. Yeah, it's no such thing as big words. You got it in your vocabulary. I can use a 3-letter word that has so much meaning.
You know what? It's that part in American Gangster when Frank Lucas goes to see Nicky Barnes and Cuba Gooding Jr. tells Denzel Washington, "Why you come up into my spot using all them big words?" So
there's no such as a big word, small minds.
That's right. Because like I said, I could say a word with 3 letters that's so profound.
Right.
To have you looking in the dictionary. Okay?
And on that note, peace out.
Please, we'll be back.
We will be back. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Raspberry Radio Show. Peace.
Good night.